My name is Stella Loknap. I am from Plateau State in Nigeria. I am Tarok and I am 29 years old. I started my education from primary school, Educare Private School in Jos. I finished and moved to Girls High School, Gindri, in Mangu local government of same Plateau State in Nigeria. I graduated in 2008 and immediately got admission to study law in University of Jos, Plateau State.
It was here that Stella met up with a fellow student during registration, and her life took a different turn. Encouraged by her new friend, Stella sold off her hostel accommodation and moved in with her new friend outside campus.
As of then, I thought it was something good because I needed cash then. I moved in to live with this girl, only to find out later on that she was bisexual, she smoked, and she was into a lot of other things, into drugs as well. She introduced me to a guy whom I later on started dating. Subsequently, I moved out of her house and moved in to live with this guy.
So it was that at the age of 17, in the first semester of her first year in the university, Stella was wrongly influenced. She stopped attending lectures and went deep into a life of sexual perversion, immorality, drugs, and abortion.
These things happened at the age of 17. And all these things happened in the first semester of my first year in that university. I had not even gone anywhere.
Yes, I met friends that were wayward, and they dragged me into a life of prostitution, a life of drugs, a life of deceit, alcoholism, smoking, and different things.
Words reached Stella's father, who came to school to discover Stella's new way of life. His intervention to help Stella was met with intense resistance from Stella, who refused to leave her boyfriend Paul or her new way of life.
It got to a point where I even stopped associating with my family because I felt they were not good for me. They had nothing to offer me. I loved the life, the new lifestyle I was living, the men, the drinking. And I was in this life for close to 6 years, estranged from my family, because as a result of this life, I and my family we're not getting along. I left my family. I dropped out of school. I left everything good, and I faced and glorified the devil for 5 to 6 years.
Some thought she was charmed or under some sort of spell, because no matter how badly Paul beat her or maltreated her, she kept yearning and seeking his attention.
After some time, I became so addicted to this boy that I dropped out of school. I stopped attending lectures. I could not stay without him for up to 15 minutes. If he is not around, I can just virtually walk around the streets looking for him and crying out for him.
All sorts of studying, education was out of it. This continued through 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, until 2014, when I looked at myself, and I just knew I deserved more, I deserved better. I saw people who in intelligence did not measure up to me, but were at places where I was supposed to be, simply because they settled down, they read, and they had the certificates that I did not have. People looked at me, people looked down on me. It wasn't a nice life. There were sicknesses, risks of sicknesses, health, and other things. And aside that, the worst of all was I had no means whatsoever to communicate with my family, because I was totally estranged from them. My dad, I was like a bad news to my parents, a bad news to my siblings. I had become even bad news to some of my friends. Some of my friends did not even want to say they knew me or know me. It was terrible. But because I had been deeply entrenched in this life, I did not know how to come out. I wanted to leave, but it wasn't easy. I didn't know how to stop. It was terrible until I met God.
In 2010, God used a neighbor to reach Stella. This woman led her to Christ and helped her secure a menial job. She kept on pushing Stella to go to church and encouraged her to live a straight life. Stella tried her best to live a straight life and was able to cut off from Paul's hold with the help of this woman. However, oftentimes, when Stella was pressed for money, she found herself sleeping secretly with men.
So then, all this while, God had been calling out to me. I attend services once in a while. I go to the church service, and then I get very remorseful. I feel bad. But then when I come back, I slump back into my former life, and it was a one step at a time thing.
Words got to Stella's father about her change in heart and her desire to live a straight life, and he reached out to her.
I was finally able to make some impacts on my father, and because he saw that I was beginning to change a little by little. I had cut down on that life of sleeping around with men. I got a job in Abuja. It wasn't something big, but at least it was putting food on the table. Was able to get my own place. I was working, and I was even making my efforts to go back to school, making efforts on my own to go back to school. So my dad sent for me and told me that he has been watching me all this while, that I should go back to school. I should prepare to go back to school.
With his help, Stella secured admission into Nasarawa State University, Kefi, to study mass communication.
When I went to Kefi, that was where the breakthrough came. I met these very wonderful friends of mine, two girls who God really connected me with. In 2017, I resumed Nasarawa State University in 2017, January.
Just as the devil used friends to lead her off the right path, God also orchestrated the right friends to bring her back to the path of eternal life.
It was in January when I resumed and I started attending church services with Chichi. It didn't just end at church services. It didn't just end at the church services. I came back home and the services continued even at home. The conversations were holy. We stopped having conversations where we just talk about men and stuff. The conversations were more about God. And I decided, I made a decision in my mind then that I had to have the relationship these girls had with God. How come as young as they were, they were having such wonderful relationships with God and I was not? So I told God, I said, God, I can't do this on my own. You have to help me. You have to help me.
Stella surrendered her life totally to God and made a vow before Him.
I surrendered everything to God. I told God, okay, this is it. This year will be the last year I will ever allow a man have any form of sexual relations with me. I will keep myself for you. I'll keep myself solely for you. But I've lost a lot. I've lost my family's love. I've lost the integrity. I've lost time. I wasn't getting any younger. I had lost time. I had lost many benefits that I used to enjoy because God was my covering. I told God, because you're a God of restoration, if you are able to restore everything I have lost to me, I will make sure that I not just keep my body for you, but I will keep my spirit and my soul tuned to you at all times, no matter how hard it gets. Stopped all contact with friends that I knew were wayward and friends that I knew would draw me back. And I just told God, even my friends, I surrendered them to God. I said, God, select my friends for me. Choose my friends for me. Choose who I talk to. Order my conversations, order my thoughts, order my words. And indeed, He did. It was an amazing experience. I fell in love with God with each passing day more and more.
However, the devil was not happy with her newfound faith and her vow before God and laid temptations and trials in her way.
2018, the devil struck. Definitely the devil would not be happy. He struck. My dad had issues in his place of work, and there was no income coming in, and I was just about to enter my 400 level where I needed money. 400 level was like their projects are coming and a lot of things, field trips and other things, and there was no money. And God stepped in big time. God stepped in fully. He brought in a lot of business opportunities, gave me business ideas. I sold Zobo. I made potato chips. I go to lectures and I'm always having my rubber with me with something to sell. Hiccup, we had a 3-month strike, but God brought wonderful things out of that strike for me. Our chaplain, the chaplain of the university's chapel, was my spiritual father, and he was also a pastor with Living Faith Church. He got me a job, and with Living Faith during this strike, and I was able to raise money that got me through all 400 level. God was amazing, and the amazing thing was, I did not just graduate. I graduated December last year, which was 2019. I graduated December 2019. I didn't just graduate. I graduated as the best graduating student with all the hassles. The challenges, the trials that came up, the businesses, combining business with the work of God, with my studies, I still came out tops, and I still did not relent in church. The work of God did not suffer, neither did my business suffer. As I'm talking to you now, I am a changed person. I am a transformed person. This is who I am. This is my life. This is my story. Every experience was given to me for a reason. And I'm glad that I can use it to glorify God. I don't know how to say it, but unless you taste and see, you can never understand how truly wonderful and amazing God is. God is amazing. I'm getting really emotional because I can't just put it into words. He loved me even when I did not love him. He came after me even when I was running. My friends died. Some of the wayward friends I walked around with died. Some died from HIV. Some died from drugs. Some are still in that life not knowing their left from their right. But God found me. He not just found me, he gave me everything back. I am back to my family. My dad loves me. He supports me. All things forgiven and forgotten.
Today, at age 29, Stella lives for Christ and shares her testimony with youth. She talks about the love of Jesus.
So please, sister, brother, I don't know who is that friend around you that is trying to draw you into a life of sin. But I tell you, there is more in God than the whole world combined can give you. God is the owner of everything. Everything you are looking for, if it is the prestige that comes from hanging out with those friends, if it is the self-acclamation, if it is the acceptance that peer pressure gives, I don't know what it is. There's this certain high that youths are looking for these days. You can get it in Jesus. You can still love God. You can still be you. Jesus will not take fashion away from you. You can still be fashionable. You can still be who you are, but love Jesus and keep yourself for him. As long as you are still alive, you can get over that addiction. You can get over that lifestyle. You can drop those group of friends. The breakthrough is there. Jesus is standing at the door and he is knocking. Will you open for him? I did, and this is my testimony. Are you willing to also taste and see that the Lord is good?
No matter what you're going through in life, know that there is a God in heaven that loves you, who gave his son to die and resurrect for you. We encourage you today, give your life to Jesus and watch him turn your ashes to beauty. It is his specialty.